to the 6th episode of Zeroed Hero for Season 3 of The War Within. This week, we are continuing the push for 3k IO, and we'll be venturing into the terrifying realm of pugging plus 12s. 12s have become the second most run key, as people push for 3k IO in anticipation of the turbo boost next week, and the difficulty spike is very prevalent in the completion rates. These keys really push me to my limit, and I will be including my real reactions to things in the video, as I think they capture my emotions pretty well. No, don't B-res. Oh my god. What are we doing? Why do we keep wiping? In our vault this week, we saw both Mythic Shoulders and Mythic Stone Cursed Idol, both major upgrades. Seemingly the obvious choice, the Stone Cursed Idol is actually only a slight upgrade over the Shoulders, and the 1 second cast time makes it somewhat difficult to work with at times, but the trinket was still significantly better. My first group didn't take that long to get into. However, my happiness was short-lived, as I was about to get a taste of meta discrimination, or as I like to call it, hunter racism. All he said was, "Not survive, hunt," and I was kicked. I was not gonna stand for this. I won't change to meta specs just because other people expect me to. I was gonna stand up for the common folk and represent the strength and value of Survival Hunter. To prove that Survival could handle plus 12s, I first had to raise my IO so that groups would actually accept me. So I decided to warm up with some plus 11 keys. I had a pretty chill Eco Dome run. I've gone over this dungeon plenty, so I won't waste too much time here. We kept losing people occasionally throughout the dungeon.
Another one.
After wiping to a double pull before the last boss, my intrusive thoughts got the better of me. If this were a plus 12, we would have failed. This is because, in a plus 12 key, the affix goes away, but instead the timer is shortened, and deaths now contribute to 15 seconds off the timer instead of 5. After the Eco Dome, I ran a quick and easy plus 11 Priory, where our group hilariously told our DH to stare into the blinding light for lore reasons.
Liar!
And I was feeling pretty confident about my score, but I was still not getting accepted into plus 12s, so I figured it was time to push my own key up. Running this plus 11 Dawnbreaker was not as easy as I initially expected it to be. On the boat section before the first boss, the other hunter DC'd, and despite only being gone for 1 pull, the key was almost abandoned. These guys really had zero patience. Luckily, despite being gone for a dreadful 15 seconds, our hunter returned. We also had some ninja pulling later, and I instantly died upon landing to this bullshit frontal that hides underneath the ground. Our second boss fight was also extremely sketchy, with our healer getting giga-fucked by an orb right off the rip. I thought we were screwed since he's our only B-res, but luckily someone had cables. This is where I'm gonna give a quick PSA. Go buy cables. They're worth it. Trust me, you don't need engineering, they're not that expensive, and they can save dungeon runs. Anyways, the rest of the key was easy, despite having our healer DC on the last boss. I swear, this dungeon just kicks people from the game. Despite being top damage for the dungeon, Hunter Survival was still catching strays. I'm telling you, man, Hunter racism. We only need plus 12s and plus 13s for 3k. So, we're actually coming super close to the end of this challenge. All we need to do is time this key, and we are well on our way to... Well, okay. 1 wipe sucks, but it's not the end. Oh my god, what?! The key was abandoned faster than I even had time to see the pop-up window to vote. Just like that, my hard work was all for naught. Rather than run another Priory key, I went back to the LFG page. I was finally accepted into someone else's plus 12 key. On the first boss, I mentioned that both Turtle and Feign Death worked for the interrogation mechanic. However, you want to prioritize using Turtle, since Feign Death will simply put the mechanic on someone else. I messed up pressing my Turtle twice, which triggers my Turtle cancel macro. I have this set up so I can quickly Turtle a mechanic, and then cancel the immunity so I can keep attacking. In the Corehound section, I learned some incredible dino tech. By tanking mobs on this cart, the dinosaur will teleport onto the cart and get stuck casting his charge over and over again, but is stuck on the food cart. Another cool tip for this dungeon is pre-starting the roleplay for the market section. This way, you don't have to stand around doing nothing. A big change from 11s to 12 is that things hit significantly harder, and, as previously mentioned, deaths are much more punishing.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
This means we need to be a lot better about keeping ourselves alive and utilizing our defensives. As a hunter, we have access to Survival of the Fittest and Exhilaration, as a DR and a self-heal. Knowing how to use them and when is crucial to surviving. Our immunity, aspect of the turtle, can also often be used to skip over mechanics and prevent debuffs. For example, on the last boss in Streets, So Osme, we can use Aspect of the Turtle before getting hit by the Shuri Ring to immune the damage as a last-minute escape plan. However, if we fail to use it before getting hit, we cannot use it to remove the dot. Luckily, I never ran into this issue on this particular key, and we cleaned up the end of the dungeon nicely. I had timed my first plus 12 key. Surely I would get accepted into more plus 12 keys now that I had shown that I was capable.
3 hours later.
Well, it took a bit longer than expected, but I was eventually invited into a plus 10 halls. This key is an entirely new dungeon at this level. There are lots of hard-hitting mechanics, and one-shots are one-shots, as our paladin and priest found out the hard way. Whereas a 10 might leave you at 5% health, 12s are pretty much tuned to always kill with dodgeable mechanics. On Halkias, I recommend saving Survival of the Fittest for Reflective Sinlight, as sometimes glass shards deal unavoidable damage. Some cool hunter tech in this first section as well is spamming our pet command follow after jumping down somewhere to teleport our pet to us so it doesn't run around and pull other trash. For Echelon, it's important to note that Aspect of the Turtle does not work for the leap, so definitely save defensives for it if you're targeted by it. On Inquisitor Cigar, the last mini-boss, our paladin was killed. Not a big deal, the waypoint's right there so we can just release, and nope, we wasted a B-res. No, don't B-res. Oh my god.
No.
Don't do this. B-reses should almost always be saved for bosses exclusively. Call me a wizard.
You're a wizard.
Because I instantly foresaw this being an issue. On the last boss, our healer got caught by a statue.
The Rook!
And our paladin very cleverly noted that we no longer had any B-reses. But as long as nobody— oh my god, of course he died to a statue again. Going into intermission, I was sure we were fucked, since the lines deal so much damage. I was barely able to survive soaking 2 lines, which can be done by placing your character right underneath Chamberlain's cock.
Nice cock.
You can normally use Turtle right before the cast to prevent the dot from applying, but mine was on cooldown. Luckily, outside of intermission, all this boss's damage is entirely avoidable. This is a good example of what I mean about tight timers, though. This time, we were lucky. Speaking of a key that was not so lucky, let's take a dive into Gambit. The key started off really well. We were stomping Murlocs left and right, and our timer was looking good. I died to a bad internet connection, but other than that, the key was going really well. The first boss is a total pushover, and the trash pulls are easy as long as the tank doesn't try to overcompensate. For the second boss, we have a lot of great utility to help push adds into the boss frontal and keep them there, such as Freezing Trap, Implosive Shot, and Binding Shot, among others. Although the fight doesn't change at all in a plus 12, the boss has much more health, so the damage checks are just that much tighter. Everything was going our way until we double pulled Starseers. Don't do this. Wandering Pulsars just deal too much damage and have too much health. There's no reason to wipe the group with 8 minutes remaining, especially not in a pug. If you're in a voice call, then it's your own choice, but...
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
With 6 minutes, we had plenty of time to finish up the key. Our next key was... yeah, right, I fucking wish. We wiped 3 times to Solea. What are we doing? Why do we keep wiping? Well, I'll tell you, past Ven. It's mostly to the soak mechanic. I think our healer thought the soak didn't leave a debuff or something. I really don't know. I was properly tilted at this, but wasn't gonna lose my cool. The key was way over time, so no IO, but we take the bad with the good and move on. I was getting a bit impatient trying to find a group, so I decided to instead try and push my key up again, because that went so well last time. I had re-rolled my key into a plus 11 Ara Kara, which I could actually use for IO. In this first section, where players run around killing mini-bosses, we can actually stand behind the spider and dodge the frontals. Just be careful on the first mini-boss, as there are eggs that will burst if you run over them, compromising your hiding spot. Also, if you are in front of the boss, be mindful of frontals that you aren't anywhere near, as apparently they can still kill you. If our turtle is up, we can also use it in case someone hard griefs us by using, I don't know, say, Ring of Peace on our Grasping Blood ad. But if it's on CD, we're kinda screwed. Having successfully timed the plus 11, we were now in possession of another plus 12 key. This time, I was planning to be a bit more selective on who I was gonna bring along, cause I didn't want a repeat of the Priory key. But when a group of 4 queued up, my greed got the better of me. This time, after the first boss, our tank was taking a bit of a different route, instead opting to go in the church through the side. These pulls aren't bad, but the frontals like to hide underneath the floorboards like a goddamn horror movie villain. Additionally, these pulls leave stacking health reduction on the tank, but healer problem, so who cares, we just feign death those. On these higher key levels, I am a big fan of lusting this mini-boss, as the longer it's alive, the higher chance the group has of fucking up the orb mechanic. Another cool hunter attack is, on the second boss, we can actually use Feign Death to cancel the Animate Shadow cast, which is just so unbelievably cool. God, I love this class. On the last boss, we can turtle the Rolling Acid cast to prevent the stun and the damage, and cancel our turtle to go right back to hitting the boss. We can also use Disengage to drop web puddles underneath the boss if we time it right, but this can be dangerous because if we mess up the timing, we're almost certainly dead, as Harpoon won't get us back up to Rashanon. Having timed our plus 12 Dawnbreaker, we were now around 2800 IO, and only needed 5 other keys on a plus 12 or plus 13, which we should be able to get done next week. So as sad as I am to see this series be finished, I hope to see you guys next time for what will most likely be the last episode of this Zero to Hero challenge.